This real-side experience would verify how life, the real guides, our real awareness, this overall isness, everything is, not only shows us what we need to know in any given moment on the physical and the real side, but if we allow this true reality in, if we don't negate or block it or filter it and obscure it with the ideas, attitudes, assumptions, convictions and considerations of the personal self, then it also will provide us with everything we require in every new moment of its reality. The personal self will always think it knows what it needs, but if we allow life in, if we stand in the reality of it, through the nowness of our real awareness being isness, we have what we actually need in regards to what is most beneficial for our awareness. Life is this real awareness, this isness, and it is all about the actuality of itself, as it is everything, and no interest can an everything reality have in anything that is fabricated simulation, the ideas of creation, essential to recognize the isness from, through comparison, yes, but a simulated reflection that has nothing to do with the true reality. So life is only interested in the real survival, the awareness of itself, and that which it provides us through the real awareness of ourselves is that which is always awareness beneficial, if we decide to recognize the ease. On the real side, if we have embraced our real intent, that of recognizing the ease, the real side experiences will be that which supports our becoming more aware process. As we have allowed life and the real guides in, and so we are shown what we need to know now on the real side, and provided also what we need now for where we are in our process of awareness. The real awareness is a reality aside from the personal self and its simulated cause and effect realities, but it is still the personal self that is the vehicle by which we activate the awareness, through that which we do, as we share and are creative in supporting the true reality by the sharing of it, and it in turn supports and assists us with our awareness and recognition of it, as everything equals itself. To share as effectively as we can, we have to utilize the personal self, and however we have constructed its created consciousness, and yes, we can make favourable alterations to it, that it is a better vehicle for sharing the ease through, because much of what we do to share has us stepping beyond our established personal self-comfort zones, and doing that which we have never done before, or very seldomly. As such, we may find difficulty with using the personal self for sharing in a way we have never done before, or seldomly, like getting into a new design of car that we struggle at first to get to grips with. For me, I always found speaking with no pre-written material a struggle. The information and references I would have learnt and know, but it's as though they get stuck between the place where they are stored and my delivery of them verbally. Very frustrating, to be sure. And more recently, I find myself with this challenge, that this is a skill I must more cultivate with the various shows that we are doing. A stepping outside of the comfort zone, if you will, but also a mechanical personal self-defect between the filed references and the expressing of them on command. But this is what I need more so to do, and as this is something that involves the sharing of the ears, as this is a benefit then with the whole of life, as this supports the true reality through the promoting of it, so then does life support me, and assist and provide what I need now on the physical and on the real side regarding this. As such, I am having real side experiences where I am afforded by life and the real guides training in this regard, to shift the blockages, adjust the personal consciousness, that this skill of speaking unscripted can be better developed. As such provided experiences make sense with the whole of life, and we might say it is a personal self-want, but again, a want that aligns itself with the overall real intent, and ultimately is beneficial awareness speaking. As an example, the other night, on the real side, I would visit a dojo, which is the name afforded to a place of martial art practice. Interestingly, although this is the first time my personal self-memory has any recorded reference file of having had such an experience in this lifetime, the moment I set foot in this very dojo, it was so very familiar, and I knew I had been here before. So very likely real side experiences I had been having that up until now my personal self had not been provided the view of, or maybe real side experiences from previous lifetimes, wherever dimension and time frame they may have been, where of course my current lifetime mental body storehouse of the mind would have no file references for. But of course, with everything we have experienced, the causal akashic files contain the references. So with the past lifetime experiences on the physical and the real side, we will instantly recognize as having experienced before through our awareness, or at least they will seem familiar even though we hadn't experienced them this lifetime. Beyond the personal self will be the real awareness that oversees all creation and all lifetimes and experiences we ever have lived. And so, as we move more so into the recognition and standing in our real awareness, then really any experience will be familiar to a real awareness that has the overview of everything ever created in the simulators. I would recognize here that I used to come to this dojo of the real side constantly, whenever or wherever I once did so, and that always the same group of individuals were here, and also the same martial art instructors. The practice would present as martial arts, but it was more that it was designed to shift inhibition, to bolster courage, to purge unbeneficial emotional responses and attitudes, and to promote the merits of mutual support. In other words, to shift the created consciousness and its attitudes, to make adjustments in such a way as to be beneficial and make for a greater ease by which the personal self can operate effectively in creation. I'm uncertain for what reasons I would be doing so in the lifetimes or dimensions I was frequenting this dojo previously, but my return now was definitely to make personal self-adjustments, to train and reprogram the personal self, to purge its inadequacies, to make it a better vessel for what I need it for now, in regards to sharing the ease in creation. Perhaps I was doing just this, back whenever it was. Perhaps it was another dimension or realm, where I had attempted to recognize the ease. For the individuals here were the same people as I said, and the impression was that the instructors were the real guides. And indeed, with martial arts, you are awarded belts in accordance with passing grades. These are tokens of distinction, acknowledgement of your standing with the martial art you have chosen. The colours generally run as white belt to red, orange, green, purple, blue, then into black belts, etc. And I knew that the time I was here before, I was a purple belt, representing here perhaps more so the extent of my process of ease recognition, and with the purple being associated with the ethereal level, suggesting my recognition at one point extended throughout the created levels, and within a touching distance perhaps of the next step of ease recognition. But of course that step is the greatest of them all, and could take millions of lifetimes, even with the conquering, so to speak, of the created consciousness, mind and emotions. And here, because of the gulf of absence between then and now, perhaps the opportunity of becoming more aware I only now in this lifetime have been able to take on again, since whenever I had before, the real guide instructor would explain how I had been downgraded to the green belt, For every time we forfeit our opportunity of recognizing the is, even as we take up the opportunity again, yes, we may move more swiftly through the process up to the point where we were before, as it will be familiar, but we still have to start over each time around, through a personal self that comes into each lifetime, bereft of any recollection and knowledge of the references to the process of becoming more aware. But nevertheless, it's what the intent happens to be in each moment that is important, and so in I went again into the dojo with my green belt to participate in the various martial art activities and exercises that in fact were designed to adjust the personal self, to enhance its effectiveness on the physical, and better align it with the real awareness and the real intent of is recognition.
Great. I don't see any defect in your stand-up impromptu speech. You're doing great, Kevin. It reminds me of how Duane often prompts us to do something to loosen us up a bit, not be so rigid. So one thing he prompted me to do was to run for city council in Cupertino when I was there, which was far afield from what I would normally do, anything like that. But here I was, found myself in an auditorium, maybe 100 to 150 people, lights, banners, TV camera, up there on stage. Well, before we went up on the stage, Kelsey and I were sitting down in the audience, and they called the people who are running for city council up there, about 7 or 8 of us. And she says, well, I'm glad it's not me. She says, I remember that. And then I went up there, and then they ask you questions. You have to be kind of, it's a debate. So they ask you questions out of nowhere, and you do prepare, but still you have to be on your feet with things. And I was just at that time, I'd say, in my real awareness, and it was a practice for me to align my personal self with my real awareness. But I noticed the difference between when I used to get up and talk in front of public, where I was totally frightened because I didn't have that reference to the real awareness. So I was totally didn't have any anchor points. I even took a year of Toastmasters. It's like a club where you practice making different kinds of speeches, motivational speeches, speeches to inform, etc. A year-long course. But I didn't have that reference for the real awareness, my real intent. So here, up on stage, yeah, I had that. So I just spoke and made sense of things. But it's like getting out and doing something that you haven't done before, to loosen up. As Duane used to say, loosen up, and it helps to see more. You get past your restrictions that you've made for yourself. So thanks, Kevin.
That's great. Thank you for bringing that up, because Val and I have had so many experiences together over the years, and I've really prompted Val, and he's been wonderful. He's just kind of like G.I. Jane, and I'm the instructor, and it's like, go do this, go do that. And kids did it. We made videos. We did all kinds of things. And when Kelsey was there, and Kelsey here, etc., and I'm sure they got tired of me saying, okay, we're doing this next, etc. But getting them out there getting them past all this, getting them out in the public, because they were the best public reference to utilize. And Val's experienced this, and it was a lot of fun. Him going through the city council and all the things that he went through, even set up a talk afterwards when the new mayor came in, because she said she was into the natural environment. Well, Val and Kelsey went up there, got them to get a meeting with her, talk to them. But again, politics as usual. But yeah, that's terrific. And there are some videos still. There's Kelsey has some stuff on her videos still out there. I had written some fun stuff, kind of funny things, and I was the voice of a little bit of it, but basically it was Kelsey and Val doing the performances, and Kelsey being the weather girl, etc., talking about HARP and geoengineering, and she was Dorothy the weather girl, like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. And we've done many things over the years, and I forget them too. And Abe and I would create the groups and also the images for all this, just like the recent one here, Secrets of the Real Secret Service. Abe and I create the images, and for Val's, you know, Tell Me Your Dreams, etc. We create all those images, constantly doing that and prompting people to do something. And Val's a lot of fun here because he just does it. Val is the hiker. He just does it, and so we. You know, we share what is the best way to survive and do what we do here. And at the same time, we share it with others, but each person has to step up and be creative also. And so, Kevin, I was going to say, yeah, that's a cool experience. It's interesting to note the different colors of the black belts. It's interesting to note, I mean, the different colors, and the black belt, which would be like the deep dark border, wouldn't it? It's like the top of creation, because the black belt's the big one, isn't it? Yes, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, can I just add about the belts? I am a black belt. I was a black belt when from teenhood, say early teens. Well, I was a black belt when I trained. But as the black belts go along, you go through your Dan gradings. That's what they're called. You go through. Obviously, it's just like grading up. But you can go to like 9th Dan. But as you go along, your belt eventually goes back to white, because as you go through your black belts, each time you do a Dan grader, you don't get a new belt. You just keep your original black belt. So as you're going through your Dan gradings of karate, it actually goes, like, the better you get, once you become a black belt, the belt actually goes back down to white. Just thought that was interesting.
Well, there you go. Just like here, the better you get, eventually you become a being of light, don't you? So again, all of creation references the true reality life is. You just got to wake up and figure it out and learn to see it. Take the time, be the risk taker to step up. Yes. Thank you, Pearce.